how's it going everyone? It's Ben Falcons Media Corner back again with a brand new video for today. Welcome back to another double movie review, aka for a Soul review video for today. And for this new double aka for a Soul review episode for today, it's going to be my review on two films that were released last year by A24. One of them is a documentary and the other is a epic medieval fantasy film. So we're going to kick off with the first one, which is a documentary, and that is Val. Now, Val is a documentary about actor Val Kilmer, and this documentary takes a look back into some never before seen footage of Val Kilmer's career that spanned nearly over 40 years. So basically we see him, like how he got his famous roles that we all know and love, such as Top Gun, Tombstone, Batman Forever, as well as like how he was inspired to become an artist, and some like choices he's making through roles he decided to do in the 2000s, and for his battle with throat cancer, which that happened back in 2015. So yeah, that's pretty much the plot synopsis for Val. When it comes to Val Kilmer as an actor, I think he's a really good, talented actor here. Like, I've seen his well-known roles that everyone seems to know and love, way known and loved from like the 80s and 90s, such as Top Gun, Tombstone, and Batman Forever. And so when it came to this documentary, I've heard a lot of praises about this documentary on the internet. Like, it played at the film festival, and they got a lot of praises from there. And I was wondering, should I check out this documentary or not? Because for myself, really, I don't really watch much documentaries that much. But if it's one that I'm hearing, that I can't stop hearing, if it's one that I'm starting to hear like a lot of people are talking about, and I can't stop hearing about, it's ones I usually kind of go for. And so when I heard a lot of praises about this one, I was like, I should give this a shot. So I did watch this on Amazon Prime last year, and after watching this documentary, I absolutely adored this documentary here, guys, because I've generally found this documentary to be really heartwarming and also really heart-wrenching as well. And I liked how this documentary shows the perspective of Val Kilmer's life and all that, since it's about him and all that. And I liked how it shows what he's like behind the curtains and all that when he's not doing any movies, which I liked how this documentary plays that out here. And it kind of gives you a fresh open mind, like how you feel about anyone at all, really, like say an actor, director, or writer, or any celebrity at all. I liked how this documentary shows that, because it gives you a fresh open mind, like how you feel about Val Kilmer and all that through the roles he does. Like say, like the roles he does here, like say you see him in Top Gun or Tombstone or Batman Forever or Kiss Kiss Bang Bang or any other movies at all, really. And I just liked how this documentary plays that all here. And it also shows a bit, but I liked how this documentary mostly shows about his personal side. It shows his personal side here, like his personal life when he's not doing films and all that, like for what he's like with his family and all that. Which for those moments I found really heartwarming and yet also pretty heart wrenching as well for a few scenes. And this documentary also shows some footage that I've never seen before of what Val Kilmer was like and all that. Like when we see him growing up and how he became this artist that he wanted to be as, through his creativity that he wanted to show to the world and all that. Like when we see him making movies with his brother, and how he did a play with Sean Penn and Kevin Bacon, and even some behind the scenes footage on the notoriously cursed production of The Island of Dr. Moreau. And also this documentary shows like what's going for him in right now in present day, which, as you guys know, that he was tragically diagnosed with throat cancer, but he has since recovered from that, but it has impaired his voice, and he finds it very difficult to communicate and all that. And he was doing something at the time, but unfortunately it had to be on hold due to his diagnosis, which for that it is really, really heart-wrenching. And in terms of issues I have with this documentary, I only have just one, is that there are some difficult scenes to watch. Namely one where we see Val Kilmer at a film con, and he's signing autographs to those who are fans of him, which, for the pictures he's been given, are his old self, and he often describes him as his old self. And once he signs them and gives them away, it just feels like he's giving his old self away, and the fans don't really care for it that much. Which, for that part, it is really difficult to watch, and it is very, very sad. And also, this documentary is also edited in very different ways and all that. Like, there are some other moments that has some there are some embarrassing footage and all that kind of stuff. And also, this documentary is also narrated by his son, his son in the film, which he actually does sound like him, which I thought that was a pretty wise choice as well. So overall, in the end, guys, this documentary of Val Kilmer, I really adore this documentary. It is very heartwarming and yet really heart wrenching. Although there's a few scenes that do feel a bit difficult to watch, but if you're a fan of Val Kilmer as an actor, I can definitely say you'll really enjoy it. You'll definitely really appreciate this documentary here. And again, it is available to stream on Amazon Prime. So that's pretty much all I have to say about this documentary of Val Kilmer. I'm gonna give Val 4.5 out of 5. Now let's move on to The Green Knight. Now, The Green Knight is a new film by David Lowery, the man behind The Old Man and the Gun, A Ghost Story, and the live-action remake of Pete's Dragon from Disney. And this is an epic medieval fantasy film where in this movie we follow Sir Gawain, played by Dev Patel, who is King Arthur's reckless nephew, and he's been sent on a daring quest where he basically has to confront the Green Knight, which is a gigantic emerald stranger and tester of men. And Gawain contends with ghosts, giants, thieves, and schemers in what becomes a deeper journey to define his character and prove his worth in the eyes of his family and his kingdom as well. So that's pretty much the story of The Green Knight. Now, I was really looking forward to this movie. This was another one I've heard a lot of praises about as well on the internet. Like, this movie, well, it was released back in July of last year in the US. And I was wondering when this was going to come out. I didn't even know if this was going to be a theatrical release or was this going to go straight to streaming service and all that. Because we've had some films last year that didn't get theatrical release like the US did. A few of them ended up had to be released on streaming service, and this one was one of them. So for this movie, it was released on Amazon Prime as well, and I did watch this on release day because I was really excited for this one after hearing a lot of praise about this one. And for the cast in the film, you got some talented names in this film. You got Dev Patel, Alicia Vikander, Joel Edgerton, and Sean Harris, and all that. And for the director David Lowery, like I said, he made The Old Man and the Gun, A Ghost Story, and the live-action remake of Pete's Dragon, in which I really enjoyed those movies. And so I watched this movie on Amazon Prime the day it was released, and after watching this movie, I gotta say, this has definitely gotta be David Lowery's best film since those three movies I mentioned, because I also really adored this movie from beginning to end. Like, there's a lot of things to really dig out of this movie. Like, well, despite the fact the film is a fantasy film, this film doesn't rely on heavy violent action here. Even though there's a little few violent action scenes here in this film, it's mostly people getting their heads decapitated and all that, which for those scenes are pretty violent to watch. This movie is mostly kind of going for slow building and all that, because this film is a slow building film here. Which the story for this film, it's mostly slow building and all that too, basically where it leads up to and all that, which that's what A24's films are well known for here. Their films usually kind of go for slow building stories here. Like Hereditary did that before, and that film was amazing. And here, the storytelling for this film, I found it very engaging and very investing throughout. Like with the character, like with the main character, like how he interacts with other characters in the film, and the whole quest itself, which I found that very engaging and very edged me see while mostly just edged me see while I was watching this movie. And since, like I said before, this is a fantasy film, the whole world itself in this film, like the whole kingdom area itself, looks beautiful to look at, as well as like other sets area in this film. They looked really great to look at. The visuals in the film looked really incredible, like for the way the Green Knight looks and all that, that looked really amazing. The makeup and costumes and all that just looked fantastic. And there are some other visual moments as well, like with the fox and all that, which I thought was pretty well done here. And and also I forgot to mention, for its story, it does kind of cut into a few different parts, even though it's not really an anthology story. It does have a few different. It does tend to focus on different other things and all that, which I thought this film did a fantastic job in doing that here. And the music of the film as well fits perfectly well for this kind of film here as well. It's really damn good. And in terms of performances, everyone was fantastic in the film. Dev Patel, this is definitely got to be one of his best performances he's ever given out of his career since Slumdog Millionaire and Lion. Because, well, I loved him in both of those movies, but yeah, this has got to be one of his best performances he's ever given out of his career. And as for other actors in the film, like Alicia Vikander, Joel Edgerton, and Sean Harris, they were all fantastic as well. And the direction and cinematography by David Lowery, like I said, it just looks really beautiful to look at, and looks absolutely stunning to look at, from like from everything that's been captured on screen, from its, like I said, from its production sets, like the whole kingdom area, the visuals, the makeup, the costumes, and the action and all that, and its story. He just captured everything. He just captured everything in this film so well done here. There's nothing that made me less invested or even bored with, because I was just mostly engaged throughout this whole film, and there was never a single scene in this film that made me bored of tears or anything like that, and I was like begging to watch. I was like begging for this film to be over or anything like that. Even though this film is kind of a slow burn film, and usually for slow burns, there are some differences between those kind of films. Like some slow burns are pretty investing, while some slow burns, they can either be pretty boring and terrible. This one is, like I said, it is like for this slow burn film, I can definitely say this one is definitely one that can be very investing to watch. And I've got no nitpick to pick out with this movie, other than I absolutely adored The Green Knight here. It's definitely another one of my favorite films of 2021. And I can definitely say this is definitely a masterpiece on every single level. And I can also say this is definitely Lowery's best film since those three films I mentioned before that he did a really good job on as well. Like he did a really good job on before. And if you miss a chance to see this in cinemas, it is available to stream on any app of your choice. So that's pretty much all I'd say about The Green Knight, other than this movie was a masterpiece on every single level here. I'm going to give The Green Knight 5 out of 5. Yeah, again, I had no nitpick to pick out this one, because, like I said, I found this one to be so engaging and so investing throughout. And also just edging me see. And just like I said, this is definitely another one of my favorite movies of 2021 here. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching for my double A after I saw review on both Val and The Green Knight. Let me know what you think of both of these films. If you have seen these already, you've just recently checked out these films for the very first time. For Val, did you really adore this documentary, or was this not really a cup of tea? And for The Green Knight, did you really adore this movie, or was this not really a cup of tea? As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and this has been Falcon's Media Corner signing off.